Today, I'll be telling you my official top 10 NASCAR paint schemes of the 2021 NASCAR Cup Series season. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel, and welcome back to our video. There were a ton of amazing paint schemes that came out in 2021, and like I said, I'll be telling you the 10 that I think were the best in 2021. Let's go and just jump straight into it. So, in the number 10 position, we have Alex Bowman's traditional ally scheme that we saw pretty much the whole entire season. This paint scheme was a really good rebranding of the ally scheme. I think the ally schemes over the last couple of years, besides with Jimmy Johnson's car, there was a few okay ally schemes, but generally I was not a big fan of the ally schemes. But they decided this year to rebrand ally schemes from basically a black branding over to a purple branding on the side of the cars and look. And I have to say that it looks absolutely incredible. This paint scheme looks really good, and it really looked pretty for the fans that were at the race as well. When they decided to change it from black to purple, I was really excited about this, and this already was for me going to be a top 10 paint scheme, regardless of how good the other paint schemes were. This paint scheme looked really awesome, looked really nice, and they are rebranding it next year in 2022, where they're going to be making it white. It's a shame that they're rebranding it from that, but also I think it looks really cool, and I like this paint scheme a lot for 2022. In the number 9 position, we have Bubba Wallace's McDonald's scheme that we saw in quite a few races in 2021. This paint scheme was very underrated in my opinion, and I'm very surprised a lot of people did not rank this higher on their list. I didn't really see a lot of people talk about this paint scheme, besides a couple YouTubers. I thought this paint scheme did really good justice. I've always been a big fan of this one. I like the red logo, I like the white, all the stuff they did with the cars. And also, I know that people probably disagree with me, but I also like the black number combination as well on the sides. I think they did a really great job on that. So I really like this paint scheme. I think this one looked really solid. And also, not to mention, this is the paint scheme that Bubba Wallace picked up his first career NASCAR Cup Series victory in at Talladega on that Monday morning on October 11th or 12th. So I thought it was really good. I really liked this paint scheme a lot, too. It looked great on the racetrack, and I liked it a lot. In the number 8 position, we have Dinosaurs' Camping World scheme. Dinosaurs joined Trackouts this year, and Trackouts had a ton of really good paint schemes. I think Kyle Sykes did an incredible job this year. But of all the paint schemes that got released this year from Trackouts, which like I said, I think Trackouts had a lot of great paint schemes, I think the Camping World paint scheme looked the best. I have seen so many Camping World paint schemes that have been really good, but this one is one of my favorite Camping World paint schemes that have been released ever. And I think that a lot of that is due to how Kyle Sykes can design race cars. You have the blue, the natural blue, you've got the gold, and you've also got the white on there as well. And I think it works perfectly well, especially for what the image they're going for. Because like I said, this paint scheme looked absolutely incredible. It's such a shame this car didn't run up front as much, though it did actually, I think, had a really strong run at the Bristol Dirt Race where they led a ton of laps. But Camping World stepped to the plate this year, and I hope they run this paint scheme again in 2022 in ways, because like I said, I thought this paint scheme looked excellent, looked really great, and I liked it. In the number 7 position, we have Kyle Busch's Interstate Batteries scheme. Now, this paint scheme I ranked last year really high because I thought this paint scheme last year looked really good. And this year is no exception. I think them rebranding it to a fully green paint scheme is the way to go. You have the white number on there, of course, but the light green works extremely well. It really meshes. And something that I think Interstate Batteries have been missing for a long time when they decided to do those stripes on their cars. I think them going to like this branding back to the green branding on there in their I think this is their 30th year as well that they have been sponsoring. It just meshes together perfectly. It just does such a good job. You still get to see Interstate Batteries, and you still get the green. It's a lighter green, but it looks really excellent. I really like it a lot, and I do hope going into next year, hopefully the number place doesn't ruin it, but I really hope going into next year, they do end up using this paint scheme for Kyle Busch. So I think it looked really awesome. It looked really solid, and I like this paint scheme as well. In the number 6 position, we're going to talk about Kyle Larson's HenderCards.com scheme. Now, I know a lot of people are going to think that, oh, you're just a Kyle Larson fanboy. And I know that a lot of you are going to think that. Well, I really think that this paint scheme was really good in my opinion. I know we saw this paint scheme pretty much all year, and we've seen this HenderCards.com scheme when Brian Vickers was sponsored and William Byron was sponsored by it. But I think that this paint scheme, they have always done a really good job on the HenderCards.com schemes. Well, this one I would say was the better of them. I think the Vickers one looked great. But it's also a bit of throwback, of course, to Brian Vickers' days and Ricky Hendrick days. And they did like a throwback pretty much all year long. And the colors mesh absolutely perfectly. I think they look really great. And seeing this car in Victory as much as it did was really great to see at the same time as well. And then stepping up to the plate and sponsoring Kyle Larson for many races this year is another reason that this paint scheme gets high on this list. Is the fact that they're going to sponsor Kyle Larson pretty much most of the season next year, I think is a great thing, and I'm very, at least for the next couple years, I like this paint scheme a lot. The color schemes look great, and I really like this paint scheme. In the number 5 position, we have William Byron's Exalt scheme. This paint scheme was very underrated in my honest opinion. I think that some people really underrated this paint scheme. So when this was announced that this was going to be the paint scheme, they basically changed up the Exalt scheme, and basically William Byron got his own branding while he still have the flames on the car. Instead of basically like a black transition, I think you have like a green and like black. You have black a little bit, but you also have like a green transition with white, with orange. Well, not orange, with yellow and red, and it just looks absolutely gorgeous and absolutely beautiful. They do an incredible and exceptional job on this paint scheme. Hender Motorsports had a lot of great paint schemes this year. No doubt about it. And for William Byron, he did have that really bad Exalt or Electrolyte scheme that we're not going to talk about much here. But I think that this is the best William Byron paint scheme that we saw in all of 2021. It's just that them rebranding it for William Byron, changing the color scheme up on it, was a great thing to see, and gives William Byron his own branding as he begins his time in the NASCAR Cup Series and begins to show what he's really capable of. So I like this paint scheme a lot. I thought it was really solid, and they are changing it up for next year as well. They're moving the number 4, and they didn't use all the sponsor placements, but I think did a really good job on this paint scheme this year, and it was really great. In the number 4 position, we have Kevin Harvick's Subway scheme. Now, Subway made their return to the NASCAR Cup Series for the first time, I believe, since 2017 or 2018. And they came out banging. And usually you would think they would use a white number for the Subway cars. They've usually used a white number for the Subway cars. Well, they came to Kevin Harvick's car, and it looks absolutely gorgeous and absolutely spectacular. The green and yellow background of the car makes it look really good. The number fits in absolutely perfectly. I like the yellowish, goldish number that they used for the 4. I think they did a really great job on that. And I think the colors, like I said, mesh absolutely picture perfect. They look really good on this thing. And the fact that Subway came in and it was one of the best paint schemes of the year tells you how great and amazing this paint scheme was. Because like I said, I thought this paint scheme was absolutely spectacular, absolutely gorgeous. They did a great job seeing this paint scheme back on the racetrack. I'm not overall always the biggest fan of green paint schemes themselves, and I know we've had a few of them here, but I think this looks really great, and I like this paint scheme. In the number 3 position, we have Alex Bowman's Ally Nashville scheme that we saw in Nashville Super Speedway. Now, this is the only time that basically we saw this. There was a contest that's thrown around where you could choose, because since Ally was sponsoring the Nashville Cup Series race, there was a contest that Jeff Gordon had and Dale Earnhardt Jr. had. Whoever won that contest, they would choose, I think it was like a neon one, and there was another one, and they basically ended up using like the neon paint scheme. And oh my goodness, this paint scheme was one of the best paint schemes that I think we saw in all of 2021. And by far, my favorite Ally paint scheme that we have ever seen. I think it looks absolutely incredible. You've got the purple background. You've got all these really weird colors. But in a weird way, it really works together extremely well. And I think they did an incredible job on this paint scheme too. Like a lot of paint schemes on this list. I think did a really great job on this paint scheme. Just neon colors, all different color varieties working together very well in the weekend of Ally. I wish that this was the paint scheme they were going with long-term down the road. If they had to choose a paint scheme instead of the white background, I'd like that they would have chosen this scheme. But I think it looked absolutely solid. It's a shame that Alex Bowman did not run a little bit better than he did in this race, because this paint scheme was really great. It was such a shame that Alex Bowman did not run better, but this paint scheme looked absolutely solid. I wish that he run this paint scheme a little bit more in 2022. In the number 2 position and the runner-up position, we have Kyle Larson's Valvoline scheme. Valvoline sponsored Kyle Larson for 2 races this year at Bristol night race, and he also sponsored it at Nashville. And holy crap, this paint scheme looked absolutely spectacular. I think it is my favorite Valvoline paint scheme I have seen since the days they sponsored Roush with Mark Martin. I didn't think the Dale Earnhardt Jr. paint schemes were absolutely great with Alex Bowman. I think the red and the white contrast in the Valvoline logo just fits absolutely perfectly. Red and white always seem to go together very well on cars. It doesn't matter what car you put on. Red and white Valvoline paint scheme just is absolutely spectacular. And seeing this car win both of the races really helps it on my list in my books. Because like I said, this paint scheme gels very well. It looks great. And you think about this paint scheme's absolutely gorgeous. And by far my favorite Kyle Larson paint scheme. I know I said I like the HenderCars.com scheme, but this is by far my favorite Kyle Larson scheme I think I've ever seen. I've seen some really nice looking paint schemes of Kyle Larson, but this is my favorite Kyle Larson paint scheme ever. The Kyle Larson paint works very, very well, and I like this paint scheme a lot. It was a great paint scheme. And in the number 1 position of paint schemes for 2021, we have Kevin Harvick's Grave Digger scheme. Now, we only saw this paint scheme once this year, and that was at the National weekend as well. We saw a lot of really great national paint schemes. You saw Bubba Wallace's Pet Smart scheme, and also the Ally scheme that we talked about just a second ago. This paint scheme is absolutely spectacular. You have all the grave diggers and all that stuff that's on there in just the black, the everything, the green, the purple, all of it meshed together extremely perfectly. It screams meanness. It screams like, I want to go racing. It just looks absolutely killer, and I enjoyed seeing this car on the racetrack, and it qualified very, very well and had a really good run in the race, and I really wish that SHR would have chosen this paint scheme a lot more to use for 2021. So I feel like this paint scheme, if they had to use it more, I think a lot of fans have been really happy, but I really like this paint scheme a lot. The color scheme matches perfectly. I liked it a lot, and I wish they would have used it more in 2021. So, those are my official top 10 NASCAR paint schemes of 2021. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, notifications, see me notified when a video does go live on my channel. Follow my Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram support my page as well. Let's get you over that and comment your thoughts on today's video. What are your top 10 favorite NASCAR paint schemes of 2021? Do you agree with my list in some ways, or do you disagree? And if you disagree, let me know what your top 10 paint schemes are for 2021. Let me know those in the comments below. Still got some special products that are on the way here over the next couple weeks. I will hopefully be getting some of those driver lineup videos out really soon, but most likely those are not going to come out till January. I've also got a 2022 preview that's coming out very soon, hopefully before Christmas or maybe the day after Christmas. I may have that out very soon, as we get really close to the holidays. But anyway, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's video, and I'll see you guys next time for some more great and awesome NASCAR content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.